guys, it's Khaki. I would like to talk to you today about something that I heard a dietitian mention in a video that I was watching a couple of weeks ago. And it really made me think about this. I've done a video on this in the past, but the way that she phrased it, the label that she put upon this, really stuck with me. So let's talk about it. For those of you who are new to my channel, I had gastric bypass about 2.5 years ago. I am down, depending on the day, between 140 145 pounds, and I have been at a stable weight now for over a year. So, what I want to talk to you about today is something that this dietitian very appropriately labeled the portion control trap. And it is a trap. Every time that I hear one of my patients say this, and I hear this all the time in patients, I see this on support groups, and it's always worrisome to me when people think of it this way. I will have a patient say to me, usually in the first year after surgery, well, when I talk to them about their eating, what are you eating? How have you changed your eating? And they will say something like, well, I pretty much just eat what I used to, but I can't eat as much of it. I mean, come on, we can't eat that much. Or they will say, when I ask them to go over what, dietary recall for the last day, the night before they will have eaten a half a piece of pizza, or they will have eaten half of a Pop Tart. The things that we used to eat that got us into the situation where we needed bariatric surgery. So, what is this trap? The first year, especially after bariatric surgery, you have a very tight food restriction, either in your gastric pouch or sleeve. What this means is that the quantity of food that you can eat is small, but that changes over time. That's what's supposed to happen. That's not a scary thing. That's not your surgery going wrong. I remember myself when I first started back eating food after my post-op liquid diet. I could eat about of a quarter of a cup at a time of soft food, something like tuna salad, egg salad, refried beans. Then gradually, at the prodding of my dietitian and at what my body said to me, I started increasing that volume. By the time that I am where I am at right now in my journey, I can eat, depending on what it is, about a cup, sometimes a cup and a half of food at a time. So think about that. Right after your surgery, my surgery, I could eat about a quarter of a cup, eighth of a cup, quarter of a cup. Now, I can eat a cup to a cup and a half comfortably, depending on what it is. If it's more dense food, less. If it's food that is a little bit less dense, I can eat more. So, what would happen if I said, okay, I really don't want to do all this changing in my food? I like my pizza. I like my potato chips. I like all these things, and I'm going to keep eating them, but I can only eat a little bit, so it's okay. That'll help me lose weight. Well, when that food is greatly restricted, when your volume is greatly restricted, you're right, it is going to help you lose weight. But then what happens when you get further post op and your volume that you can hold increases? I might have been able to eat a quarter of a piece of pizza 2 or 3 months post op. Now I can eat 2 or 3 pieces comfortably. I'm getting a lot of calories from that. So, the portion control trap really comes from that mentality of being unwilling to change. That does not mean that we cannot enjoy foods that we loved before, if it's not a trigger for us, if it doesn't make us feel bad. But that does mean don't fall into that trap of eating things that got you into the situation that we got ourselves into, thinking, well, I can always count on my pouch or my sleeve to restrict my volume. So, whereas I could eat a whole pizza before, now I can just eat a quarter of a piece, I'm fine. That's not always going to be that way. Use that first year when you really have that restriction to learn those new eating habits. Learn how to focus on protein, healthy non starchy vegetables, healthy carbohydrates. Learn how to change your eating because guess what, folks? Losing the weight, it's not easy, but it's the easier part. Keeping it off is the hard part. You don't want to go through this surgery and end up losing the weight, feeling good about yourself, having that healthier body back, and then that weight slowly creeping back up because you fell into the portion control trap. Guys, I would love to hear from you. Do you feel like the portion control trap is something that you may have fallen into or are in danger of falling into? I would love to hear where you're at in your journey. What are you struggling with? What did your weight loss bariatric team tell you about portion sizes? How did they tell you to really change your eating? I would love to hear from everybody. I would love to hear video suggestions. I want to put out content that is helpful to you, so let me know what that might be. Guys, I hope you have a great week. Stay out of the portion control trap, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.